Welcome to the Whatever podcast. I'm Erica.
I'm Annabelle.
I'm American.
I'm not.
Hey guys, we're in episode 2. So glad you joined us for another round of us being whatever we're being.
Whatever we're being.
Whatever we're being. Today we have a multitude of topics, such as what the inside of a toilet is called, what our most recent embarrassing moment was, our dad issues, and woo, went from 0 to 100 real quick. And a follow-up to a story I told last time about getting lipstick on a dress because I had to come clean to my friend. So, yeah, let's get into it. So, I know everyone was dying to know. We found out what the inside little hole in a toilet's called. It's called a...
Okay, so I'm just going to preface this with saying I have no idea how to pronounce this, so don't make fun of me if it's wrong. A siphon jet.
Siphon jet.
Siphon jet.
A siphon jet.
There's so many words that I've been saying wrong my whole life.
Like
that
what?
are like normal words. And then I remember like middle school and high school was so cringy because, you know, when you have to like go around and like read out loud, I would like pronounce them wrong. And people would look at me and be like, you said that wrong. I'm like, oh, that's just how we say it in England. And it's not. It
definitely was not how they say you disgrace the queen. What are some other ones? Can you think of any other ones that you'd say wrong?
I thought the word remote was pronounced remote.
That's just an emphasis on a syllable.
Maybe. But then also there's a couple words I get confused, like vividly and vaguely.
Those are very opposite.
Yeah. And so I had been using vividly as vaguely the entire time.
In the wrong way.
In my whole life, in the wrong way. And it's just one of those words that I really have to think about to use it.
Man, that would really suck if you were ever pulled into a crime, like a crime investigation. And they're like, where were you the night of June 2nd? And you're trying to say, like, you didn't remember. You're like, I vividly remember June 2nd.
I vividly remember absolutely nothing
about it. I vividly remember vaguely nothing happened.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so funny. Wow.
I don't remember what else there is. I'm trying to think of, I can't even think of other words right now. There was, like, silly things that's, like, clearly that's, I just, like, read it exactly how it was spelled, and it was completely wrong.
When I was a kid, I thought championship was champion chip. And my mom and grandma would really try to correct me and say, Erica, it's not championship, it's championship. And there were like older, like teenagers around.
It does kind of sound the same.
It does. It's very different. Championship, some guy named Chip who's really good at whatever he does. Championship is a championship. Anyway, I just thought I was really impressing these older kids. And my little sassy 4-year-old would be like, championship. And it was just like, Erica, come on, like you know the right answer. It was like they were resigned to it at that point. I know that, this is a dumb story, but I just wish I could, just the pure disappointment on their face every time I say championship. They're like, Erica, you know what the right answer is. Why do you keep saying the wrong thing? And I'm like, it's championship. Anyway, interesting. Yep, siphon jet. All that to say.
Siphon jet.
Follow up to my story last week. So I told a story last week about getting lipstick on a dress at a wedding, at my first wedding I ever took pictures at. And upon releasing that podcast, I did call my friend to come clean to her. And ironically enough, this weekend was their wedding anniversary. Didn't know that. So I called her, so sweet. She's like, Erica, I haven't heard from you in so long.
There's a reason for that.
Wow, there must be a reason for this call. Like, how are you doing? And I was like, oh man, I have to come clean to you. And she was like, oh, what about? And I was like, I have a big secret I've been keeping from you. And she's like, what about? And I was like, okay, remember your wedding? She was like, yes, Erica, it was so great having you there. You were so nice to us. You shot it as a gift to us. Yeah, remember when we got lipstick on the dress? And she was like, yeah. And I'm like, that was me. And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah. And then I told her the whole story. I got lipstick on the dress. I was mortified, hit in the room. Everyone argued it out. I just let it go. And she was like, you know what? I can't even be mad at you. 1, it took 2 seconds to get it out of the dress. And 2, honestly, you shot our wedding for free as a gift to us. If you wanted repayment by putting lipstick all over my dress, I honestly would have understood. Probably wouldn't even been mad. I would have been still so grateful. So, and I'm like, man, you're a real
nice
champ.
Person.
She's so nice. I mean, she's like over half a decade married now, 2 kids. Like it's just like a a memory in the past. Not to really excuse my behavior because again, it was dumb, but I just didn't know what I was getting myself into. I didn't know what I was doing. But yeah, she was so nice. She's literally so nice. And she's like, I'm gonna listen to the podcast. So she was so sweet. Anyway, so that cleared the air. I feel that's a weight off my shoulders.
I'm so proud of you. I can't wait to confess more on this podcast.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, true confessions.
My favorite is I'm not gonna acknowledge them like Erica does. I'm just gonna let what has already happened after episode 1 and just let the flood of text coming in saying, were you talking about me?
Oh my goodness. Did you get those? You got those?
Clarify the story I told last episode about the drunken bride. It was none of you. This was many years ago and it was not recent. And yes.
Yeah.
So if you think it's you, it was not.
It was
but
not
it's funny
you.
that you think it's you.
Why are you so obsessed with me?
What?
It's a Beyonce song. Or no, oh, I just dissed Mariah Carey. Sorry. No, it's a Mariah Carey song. You know that? Why are you so...
No.
It's on TikTok.
Can we tell them the story about your dad?
Yeah. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, okay, what I want to preface this with, you're not allowed to pity me. If you go through a weird spot in your life, if you don't have fun with it after some point, it's just a bunch of miserable experiences for no good reason. I joke about my dad is not in my life. He's a great guy, super sweet, just is not involved in my life. That's okay. He's alive and well, off somewhere.
And she's not joking about this in a way to deal with pain.
Yeah,
she's
no. I'm joking
with
with it to joke about it because the situation is funny. Like, it's just a funny situation regardless of the intricacies of my non-existent parental relationship with my father. But my dad wasn't involved in my life growing up, but he actually, before I tell this story, I have another joke. So I beg my friends to tell dad jokes. I beg them to tell them because I think they're so funny. Like, I will cry laughing. They're so funny. I make them all the time, and they're just the best.
Specifically to your dad or dad jokes?
Just dad jokes. No, not
the
like
phrase dad jokes.
No, like your dad is not around. Jokes.
I didn't know if you meant dad
not
jokes.
Dad,
like,
not
haha, my name's hungry.
Yeah. Or like the milk has gone rotten, and it's like a milk in a refrigerator with a bandana and like a cigarette. Have you seen that before? Oh, but sorry, that's a very specific dad joke. I saw it one time. I thought it was really funny. No, I'm talking about
So we're not talking about those dad jokes.
No. The dad jokes about making fun of my dad not being around. They're funny. Okay.
Oh.
So I remember a friend of mine, like years ago, probably like 6 years ago. I bet he was my best friend at the time. I begged him. I was like, please tell a dad joke. And he's like, Eric, I would never do that to you. That is so hurtful. And I was like, no, it's more hurtful to me that you don't joke about it. And like, just make fun of me one time. And so we got somewhere. We were on like a trip and we parked somewhere. And I was talking about the food, and I was like, yeah, the food was like there 1 minute and then gone the next. Oh, no. And he goes, just like your dad. And I mean, I lost it. It was because it was just so out of character for this person, and he was so like, I'm not doing that to her. I'm just gonna hurt you.
I have no idea the story or who this is, but I like picture this person making that joke, laughing, and then
wait,
instantly like freezing and like looking for your reaction.
I immediately bursted out laughing. And so we get in the car, like I'm still laughing. I'm like wiping the tears from crying. I laughed so hard. I literally like I think fell to my knees in the parking lot and was laughing. And so we get in the car, and he's like, Erica, I am so sorry. He was like genuine, like, I am so sorry. That was so rude of me to do. Like, you just egged me on. And I'm like, why are you apologizing? That was the funniest thing I've heard in my life. That was amazing. Anyway, so I just am used to this stuff. So my dad was a principal at a school locally, a couple of schools, a middle school and elementary, middle, and high school. So when I was growing up, a friend of mine was at one of the schools he was the principal at, and we had just become friends. And so I knew the school he was a principal at. Like I was aware of him. I was aware of where he was. We just did not have a relationship. That's a complicated story for another day. And so I told her one day, I was like, hey, like, my dad's your principal. And she was like, no, he's not. Stop messing around. And I was like, do you think in my free time I just make up stories about principals being my dad? And she was like, no, Erica, there's no way. And I'm like, my name is Erica Paul, if you don't know. And so I'm like,
this is my favorite part.
his name is Eric Paul. I don't know. I'm like, I don't know what else I need to say to you. Like, his name is literally Eric. And I start crying on Skype. Because we were Skyping. This was like Uvu and Skype was like whatever. Mm-hmm. And so I start crying. I'm like, his name is Eric Paul. I don't know what else I need to prove to you. And then when I start crying, she was like, oh no. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. And so then, like, when I graduated high school, when she was in high school, and she saw him in the hall one day, and I invited him to my graduation. Again, it's a very interesting dynamic with him. He still loves and cares about me, just not involved. But my friend at the time decided that she was just going to let him have it. So she was walking because she was coming to my high school graduation, and she knew he wasn't going to come. So she saw him walking in the hall one day, and she was like with a friend, and was just like, yeah, my best friend, Erica Sade Paul.
Your middle name's Sade?
It's, yes, I say.
Like Shorty? Like Sade.
And that's why I say Sade. You literally, that's exactly why I say Sade. I'll get back to that in a second. But she's like, Erica Sade Paul is graduating from high school tomorrow. And she said he like turned around and like looked over his shoulder, but like pretending to hear. He's like, yeah. And she invited her dad, and he isn't coming. right behind him in the hallway. Whatever.
High schoolers ain't slick. She probably thought she was so slick too.
No, I know. She really thought she was sticking it yelling to him. And I was like, man, I wish you hadn't have done that, because now he thinks I really didn't care. I understood the situation why he couldn't come. But all to say, so fast forward to like a week ago, we were celebrating a friend's birthday, and there were a few of us at her house. And I didn't know this until it just started unfolding, that pretty much every single person in the room, except for Annabelle, pretty much.
Yeah, it was just me.
And I think Katie too, had gone to a school that he was a principal at. And every single person knew my dad. And so it came up, my friend that did the whole, my best friend's graduating, whatever, we're still best friends now, but we're at our friend's house, and she's telling like the story about how the Skype story, me saying his name is Eric Paul, this whole thing. And then everyone's like slowly coming to the realization that like, we're not joking around. And one of my friends is like, your dad suspended me one time. Like, he suspended me for like blah, 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 blah. And then another girl is like, oh my gosh, that was your dad? Are you kidding me? He was the best principal, like, blah, 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 blah. And they were like, yeah, he coached my softball team, blah, blah, blah. And I literally sat there and I was like, man, please tell me more, because I don't know anything about him. So I'm really,
she was like, tell me about him. What's
I'm like taking notes. I'm like, you're really adding his biography for my personal biography about him right now, because I didn't know any of it. Okay, softball coach, best principal ever, suspended my friend one time for doing blah, blah, blah. I'm like, write this down. So I learned so much about my dad in one night. It was great. My friends know my dad better than I do. We can joke. I'm joking about it because it's just so funny. Cringy. It's so sounds like something you write in a movie. Like, it just feels fake. But yeah, good old Eric. Love him so much. Wow. Yeah, my middle name is Sade. It's my mom's favorite singer.
I love that.
After high school, I dropped it, went to Sade, because I am
legally.
No.
Oh.
If I could legally drop my last name, I want to legally drop my last name and just go Erica Sade. But it sounds dumb for me to spend the money to drop my last name and then spend it again if I get married. If I don't join the nunnery first, if I ever get married, I have to do the process and pay the money all over again. So I'm like, I just everything. I just forgot my last name.
My last name.
You did? Mm-hmm. Did you really?
Yeah, I was applying for citizenship, and you like go through the naturalization process. And when you do that, you can declare whatever name you want. So I'm now Lord Annabelle. I'm just kidding.
To spend the money to drop it for no reason. I mean, not for no reason. I have my reasons why, but to drop it and then have to do it again when I get married, I was just like, So I just dropped it personally on everything. But when I was in high school, so to the people listening, I am half Caucasian, half African American. And so when I was in high school, people knew that I was half black and half white. And they would come up to me and they would say, what's your full name? And I would say, Erica. This sounds like really ridiculous, but this actually happened to me. I said, Erica Paul. And they said, what's your middle name? And I said, Sade. And they were like, like, found it. Or like, I wear my hair curly. People would start grabbing my hair in the hallway. Not in a weird way. I mean, it was kind of weird, but not in a rude way. It was like, wow, your hair's like curly. And I'm like, can you not yank my hair on the way to sixth period? And then I went to Sade then I went back to Sade to try to, so my mom was like, I don't know why you changed it. It was like my mom really liked the middle name she gave me. And then actually I was volunteering at a place and they found out my middle name was Sade, and then it became a joke, like, oh, Sade, like exactly the thing.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, I don't care. And so then I dropped it to Sade again because I was like, it's just so
I love it though.
I do too.
I feel like it's that much cooler.
It is, but yep. So Erica Sade, that's what it is. Here we are. We love to see it. Annabelle, what was your most recent embarrassing moment or interaction you had with someone?
Okay, so here's the thing. I do a lot of embarrassing things, but I don't get embarrassed easily unless it's something that really isn't embarrassing at all. I just personally get mortified, such as walking to the restroom in a public place. So I do a lot of things that I really should get embarrassed about. I think I have a lot of strange interactions with people where I just am very weird and probably make them feel uncomfortable, and I just kind of go along with it. Like, I just feel like there's probably multiple times a week that people have like go home and like tell their friends like, I just saw the weirdest person, or I just saw somebody fall down in a parking lot. Like, I feel like I'm probably the topic of a lot of funny stories of people witnessing.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, just another day.
I just think about all of those, like, you know, those random videos you see on like
really
Twitter.
Stuck up for a second. I'm not the topic of conversation.
No. I knew what you meant.
Probably the bunt.
Yeah.
The bunt cake, the butt, the runt. I'm probably the
brunt.
A brunt.
Yeah.
Brunt.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a frat dude name.
It does. Yeah, man, that brunt. Alpha Kappa Alpha.
Apple pie.
Apple pie.
But I'm probably the brunt of people's like making fun of their day jokes. Not, yeah.
Well, I just think about like Twitter, those like videos you see on Twitter or TikTok or Instagram of people like doing embarrassing, like random, like people just happen to film the moment kind of things. Yeah. And I was just like, I'm waiting for the day that I'm in one of those videos. So I'm wondering, I'm like, those people
you're like, wait, that's me.
But you know, those people are real. They have real lives.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I'm just like, man, someone somewhere that happened to them. I last week was at Chick-fil-A in the picking up stuff, and I'm in like a life group at my church, and it was online, but everyone had met in person, like out whatever. And so I get to the venue, and then I ask my friend where my group is, and they're like, oh, they're upstairs in like the room or whatever. So I start running up the stairs. So I box. I said that last thing, and Annabelle made me feel dumb for saying Muay Thai the way I did, but I do Muay Thai.
No, I think it's so cool. I just never heard of it before.
I know, it was the way I said it too.
So
I
sick.
take Muay Thai most nights. The class is from 7 to 8. The group starts at 7.
Don't
so I was
mess
already
with Erica
late
because she will Muay Thai you in the face.
I will fight you. And so I was still, since I come straight from boxing because I was late, I was wearing Nike slides with socks and my gym shorts and a t-shirt that was, I was still like cooling off from sweating, and like everyone's dressed super nice because everyone's trying to pick up chicks / dudes
their
respectively.
first time out the house in like, to church in like 4 months.
Yeah, God knows how long. Everyone was dressed super nice. Everyone looked great. I'm like a frump. So my group was upstairs. So I started running up the stairs, and I tripped up the stairs.
Because you were wearing a slide.
I was wearing my slides, and one of my Nike slides like just fell off and fell down 4 steps. So of course, like to feel better about it, I like look around and start laughing, like hunched over to start laughing. But no one had seen me do it. They just saw me hunched over laughing like a character from Foster's Imaginary Friends with one slide 4 steps down. And so someone looks at me and they're like, are you all right? And I just go, yep, just super excited to get to my group. And I like run down 4 steps, pick up my slide, and run up the stairs with my slide in my hand. And yeah.
So Erica gets home from this night and decides to reenact how this happened.
Yeah, no,
she legit fell, like collapsed, like I've fallen and I can't get up kind of fall onto these stairs. And I just think it's so funny because the fact that no one saw that, they just saw you like hunched over laughing. And then you said that it's because you were so excited that they probably thought you were literally like, like just by yourself, like giddy.
Oh, yeah,
like,
just
can't wait.
That makes it worse. I didn't even think about it like that. That does kind of suck. Oh my goodness. That was that makes it
But
way
I
more
mean,
tragic.
I don't know which one's more embarrassing. You being really happy or falling up the stairs. Up the stairs, not down the stairs.
Yeah, up the stairs. I fall up and down a lot of things a lot of times.
Have you broken a lot of bones?
I've not broken a single bone in my entire life.
Nor have I. And
which
I'm very
surprised
clumsy.
about. Yeah. I mean, I've had like when I was a kid, I would visit my cousin during the summers. My cousins, not one cousin, they're two. I would visit them in Connecticut during the summer, and we would go biking because there was a lot of hills and stuff. They lived like up
Like
on
bicycles?
a hill, like bicycles and stuff like that. One day I decided to take a scooter. I say that this experience changed the trajectory of my
Is
life.
it the same scooter you still ride?
No, it's a different one. Which getting that scooter was a healing moment for me. No, so we went for a ride one day, and it's me, my cousin Lauren, that's 3 years younger than me, and then my cousin Jordan, that's 6 years younger than me. And so I was probably 13 at the time. Lauren was 10. Jordan was 7. So we're going up this hill in Connecticut. And we're amping each other up. We're just going to rip through this hill. And Jordan, the youngest, is like, Erica, we're going to rip through this hill. It's going to be so much fun. And I was like, yeah, Jordan, we're going to rip through the hill. I did not want to rip through the hill. Okay. I want to take a nice, safe, slow pace down the hill, but he wanted to do it. So we get to the top of this hill. It was a huge hill. I mean, it was giant, especially for being like a dumb kid. It was huge. Don't know why we did it. So I'm on my scooter. Jordan's on his bike. My cousin Lauren is walking the dogs. So she was just walking the dogs. And so I will preface this and say I was supposed to do swim camp this summer. Okay. So that's an important detail that'll come up later.
Were you wearing your goggles?
No.
Your swimming cap?
No.
Your swimming socks?
It might have predicted me for what happened next if I was. So I go down this hill. My cousin is like, 3, 2, 1, go. I go down this hill. I'm ripping down this hill. It's just a razor scooter down a hill. And so I'm getting nervous. I'm like, okay, I'm doing this for Jordan. I'm doing this for the kids. And so I look and I'm like, Jordan, we're ripping this hill up, aren't we? And I look up and that joker started walking he got scared at the last minute and started walking his bike down the hill with Lauren and the dogs. So it had been so long since I ridden a scooter, I forgot how to stop it. I forgot the brakes on the back wheel. And I'm going so fast, it starts wobbling. So I ditch it. I just ditch the scooter, skid on both my knees. One knee, fall face, helmet.
It's like concrete paved.
Oh yeah. No, it's road.
Oh,
it's road,
no.
paved road. Helmet saved lives. Fell flat on my stomach, skid on my stomach. My head hit the curb. If I was wearing a helmet, flipped over the curb, and landed in grass. And so my cousin's running down the hill with the dogs. My cousin's running down the hill with the bike, and they're like, "Erica, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm like, we're chilling. And then my cousin Lauren starts screaming, and I look down, and I had skinned my knee down to like if I had torn through maybe 4 more layers of skin, my bone would have been exposed. And so my uncle happened to be driving to go to the grocery store and found me, and he's like ex-military. He starts freaking out. He knows bad. He's like, oh my goodness, get in the car. So they get me in the car. They take me to the house, not the hospital, the house. It wasn't like it wasn't like bloody or anything, which is weird. It wasn't like bleeding all over the place, but it was still like pretty messed up. And whatever, they patched me up. And so I was supposed to go to swim camp. And because I had an open wound, my aunt was like, hey, I'm going to try putting this plastic thing over your knee. If it doesn't work, you can't go to swim camp. You have to go to swim camp. You have to go to robot camp instead. And so I remember she went to work and she's like, okay, I'll check on it when you get to work. If you swim or anything, let me know. So I swam with the cover she made me, and I got out the pool and saw that my wound had gotten wet. So me being sneaky, I thought, oh, I'll just change it. She won't know the difference. She'll see that the thing is fine. And so she came home and she was like, oh yeah, your wound's still wet. And I was like, God dang it. So I had to go robot camp. I built robots for the summer. Why am I dumb? Don't know. Apparently the robot camp didn't help that much. But
can I tell an unrelated story?
Yeah, tell an unrelated story.
I don't know how to transition.
Oh yeah.
I think this could go off of like embarrassing moments. But it's this thing I like to do that I thought I would grow out of, or probably I should have grown out of, but never did. But as a kid, it was always my favorite thing to like scare people. Like you'd be hanging out with friends or family, and then one of them would go like to the kitchen or something, and they'd like, everybody hide. And I thought it was really funny because they'd walk back in the room and everyone would be gone, and then you like jump out and scare them, that type of thing. Still do it to this day because I think it's so much fun. But more recently, oh no, I was at a restaurant My friend had gone to the bathroom, and I also went at the same time. There was like a group of us, and it was someone of the opposite gender, so they went into a different room. And so I came out before them, and I was like, oh, this is great. I'm going to scare them. This is going to be so funny because we're in public. So it's going to embarrass them because I'm like, ha! And they're like, ha! And it's just going to be a disgrace. And so I'm there waiting. I hear the toilet flush in the background. I'm like, this is it. I'm ready. I hear the sink. I hear the hand blower. I'm like, this is my time. I'm like lunged. I'm ready. And then I see the shadow come across and I leap out. I went, ha!
It was a random person, wasn't it?
This random sweet man.
Oh my gosh.
Not from here. Did not know what was happening.
Oh my gosh.
Did not speak English. I didn't. Oh, I'm so sorry. I couldn't communicate what happened. I was like, thought you was someone else, but even then, like, why would I be doing that? And yeah. I guess that was my embarrassing story.
I have something that was part embarrassing, part terrifying. It was like a few years ago, I went to see Coldplay for the first time in Boston. And it was my first trip like by myself to a city that I didn't really know anybody in. Like I usually went with a friend or I had someone I was staying with. Like I booked a hostel, which I won't do again.
Good times.
And I went there. And so I get there that night. Someone tries to take my phone. Someone tries to mug. It was just like it was a mess. I tried to get lured. It was not fun. And so when I made the reservation at this hostel, I thought it was a females only room because you could do females only, males only, or any gender could come in. I thought I booked the female only room. So I get there for the night. I lay down to go to sleep. And about 3 a.m., the door handle starts like jiggling, and a man walks in my room. And I'm like, oh shoot, this is it. It was nice while it lasted. Wish I'd gotten to see Coldplay. You know what? Things don't work out the way you want them to sometimes. It's fine, whatever. Guy walks in, rolls in a suitcase, sits down next to a bunk bed, lays down, goes to sleep. And I'm like, what the heck? So I pull out my phone frantically and I look and I saw like I had not booked. And then another hour later, another guy comes in, goes on the top bunk and goes to sleep. And I'm like, oh my God. I was so mad.
Just lying there so
yeah, I literally was like, this is the most uncomfortable situation. I literally have two random men sleeping and it was just such a dumb mistake. I was so mad at myself. I was like, that's so stupid. Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? And then I wake up the next morning and one of them they were both nice. They were both nice, but like one of them was like a dad visiting his daughter at a university or something and just needed some place cheap to stay. And then the other guy was just I actually never saw the other guy again. But I just remember being so mad at myself. I was mortified. I literally was like, this is a taken situation. I'm out. And you know how paranoid I am. Everyone knows how paranoid I am. I was like, man, this is literally the worst case scenario for me.
That's so bad. I feel like travel bookings, they really get you. Like
they really do.
I have a group of best friends who we all live in different states. So every year we like meet up and have a trip. And so I think it was like a couple years ago, we were staying like just outside of LA and one of my friends was in charge of booking the hotel. And I don't remember if she just didn't tell us or she just didn't think we would notice or if for some reason we all agreed to it. But the cheapest hotel room, keep in mind there's 5 of us, the cheapest hotel room naturally was a queen bed.
One queen bed for 5 of you?
And so maybe there was 4 of us.
Still more than 2 people.
Yeah, anyway. And so, minor detail. And so we get there, we check in, and we walk up to the room, and we all just stare at her. And she's like, ah.
Like,
and
you
I
messed
just remember
up.
that night, all of us laying like horizontal, like the opposite way you're supposed
like
to
a square.
lay. Or like that.
Oh
And we
my
wake up in the night, like 3 of us are on the floor. Like, it was just so funny. But it was one of those things. I don't know if it was a mistake or if it was on purpose, but like, those travel bookings, they'll get you.
Just got an email from Starbucks. Double Star Day is Wednesday. My mom actually told me I should not drink caffeine anymore because I feel like garbage.
Next week, I'm quitting caffeine if you want to do it together and push through the migraines.
Do you have migraines?
No, if I don't drink caffeine, I get the migraines.
Oh, you get the migraines. I like don't know if for me if it's a comfort. I don't know. I don't know if for me at this point if it's a comfort thing or if I actually need the caffeine. But it's like one of those. You need it.
I need it.
Well, yeah, you wake up at 5 a.m. every freaking day. Of course you need it. I I like, if I don't drink it, my head hurts. And if I drink it, my head hurts. It's like I drink water too. That's a follow-up question. But are you drinking water? I'm like, yes, I drink water. I have liquid IV in my water. So it's 3 times the amount of water. Little plug, not sponsored. Use Erica 10 at checkout. Won't do anything. But I literally, I don't know.
Thank you to our sponsors, caffeine. Thank you to our sponsors, our dads. Oh, wait.
Yeah, thank you for my dad for sponsoring this episode. You can use Erica 10 at checkout. It won't work and won't make him show up, but it'll make me feel better if you just put my name near him.
It's worth a try.
Worth a try. Dad, please come back.
Dad, please don't.
Dad, get it together.
Eric. Erica to
this
Eric.
Is Erica to Eric. Roger. You read over. No, that's the thing. His walkie-talkie's been dead this whole time.
It's crazy because my dad's name is Annabelle. It's not a funny joke. I tried to see what my name would be like in the dude form.
What would your name? Annabelle.
Bob.
Anna Bob. Well, that's another episode of the Whatever Podcast. Thank you guys for joining in. Again, rate, review, follow. Our video podcast comes out every Tuesday.
Share with your friends.
Share with your friends.
Share with your family.
Share with your dad. Because I can't. Do it for me. Let me live vicariously through you, and please share this with your dad.
Or her dad.
Or my dad, yeah. If you know my dad, because apparently everybody and their mother knows my dad. If my dad was your principal, feel free to reach back out to him at some sort of reunion. If you have your 10-year coming up, you see him there, just like, be like, hey, your daughter made a podcast. No, you don't know anything else about her life, but this is one thing you can write in your biography of your daughter. She has a podcast, and it's really, really good. Yeah. So anyway, all that to say, like and subscribe on YouTube, rate and follow on Apple Podcasts, follow on Spotify Podcasts, wherever you partake in a podcast, and we will see you. When will we see them, Annabelle? Never, because this is an audio podcast unless they watch the video one. But trick question.
Yeah, we don't have the looks.
When will they?
For visual. We have the face for podcast.
My mom always told me I had the face for radio. She's gonna be really mad when she hears that because she hates when I make that joke. She really hates it. She's like, I would never say that to you. And I'm like, I know, that's why it's funny. Anyway, all right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye. Wash your hands.
Goodbye. Wash your hands.